Hello and welcome to our FinovateFall 25 and 5 video interview series. My name is David Penn. I'm a research analyst with Finovate. Joining me today is Eric Levine. He is co-founder of Berbix. Eric, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on board.
Absolutely. Very happy to have you with us. Very happy to have you as a part of FinovateFall, also coming up in New York in September, just a few weeks away. To that end, I thought perhaps you could tell us just a sentence or two about Berbix for folks who are just getting to know the company for the very first time.
Yeah, absolutely. So Berbix is an identity verification solution for building trusted relationships online by instantly and accurately validating a user's identity.
Excellent, excellent. Again, we're going to learn a little bit more about Berbix over the course of our conversation today, but I thought a little table setter might be a nice way to start things off. So with that out of the way, are you ready to go?
Let's get it going.
All righty, here we go. Starting from the top with our 25 and 5. What's your favorite meal of the day, breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
I'll have to say lunch on that. I practice intermittent fasting, so I don't usually eat until lunch. So by the time lunch rolls around, I'm quite hungry. So it's always a favorite of mine.
Always a welcome meal. Let's see, number 2, your favorite season of the year?
That would have to be spring. The fact that the days are long and getting longer and the just general feeling of renewal just always puts me in a good mood. I love spring.
Yeah, spring's a fantastic season. Let's see, what's your favorite sport or recreational activity, either to participate or to watch?
Yeah, I recently have taken up shooting clay pigeons. So it's called trap. My father-in-law, I got married recently, is very into the sport. And so we've taken that up together, which has been just a really great way to bond with him.
Oh, fantastic. Let's see, what's your favorite vacation spot or getaway?
Yeah, so I grew up and have lived on the West Coast my entire life. So going to Hawaii has always been a favorite of mine, specifically the island of Kauai. The beautiful scenery, laid back vibes, and there's a lot of wild chickens running around. It's such a charming place.
Well, chickens love it. Let's see, it's time to relax. Are you more likely to read a book or to listen to music?
A little bit in between. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Right now I'm listening to the Dune series in preparation for the movie that's coming out later this year, revisiting that after a long time.
Oh, that sounds good. Let's see, do you own a smartwatch?
I do. Yeah, I finally jumped on the bandwagon last year and I got an Apple Watch to track my runs. So I've been enjoying that recently. There it is right there.
There we go. All right. Let's see, do you use a robo-advisor when it comes to your own personal investing?
I do. I try to take a fairly diversified approach, including my approaches to investment. And so a robo-advisor is a component of my investments, but it's a fraction of sort of my overall investment strategy.
Oh, very interesting. What's your favorite mode of public transportation?
Good question. Does walking count?
It certainly does.
I love walking around. Living in San Francisco, that's one of my favorite parts of being able to be in a city that is quite walkable, is being able to go grocery shopping. All of my errands are on foot these days. But taking the ferry is also a big favorite of mine, but I don't get to do that quite as often as I'd like.
Yeah, walking and ferry, some of my favorites as well. Great producers. Let's see, do you own more in digital assets like Bitcoin or more in physical assets like gold and silver?
Yeah, so the answer is digital assets like Bitcoin, but that says a lot more about my ownership of physical assets than it does my digital assets. But yes, digital assets for me.
Oh, okay, sounds good. Here we go. Without naming names, what does your current bank do right?
Yeah, ATM refunds. I really did not like the days of having to hunt down a branch for my bank in order to make sure that I avoid those fees. And I know that it's a small deal, but the amount of time and effort that I don't have to spend trying to find a place that's going to minimize my fees, it's one of those little things that's a big boost to my my standard of living, and it's something I really enjoy and really appreciate.
Oh, very good. Let's look at the other side of the coin here. Also, without naming names, what does your current bank need to do a bit better?
Yeah, so the flip side of that exact bit is that they don't have a lot of physical branches. And so there are certain types of tasks that do require being at a physical branch. And so that can be a pain, but fortunately, I think the benefits outweigh the costs there.
Okay. Who would you say is the most inspirational person to you in technology right now?
Yeah, I am really quite fascinated with all of the work that they're doing over at OpenAI.
Mm,
So I would say that based on that, based on my being inspired by them, that their chief scientist, who's Ilya Sutskever, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, their chief scientist, would probably be my answer there.
a very interesting pick. What did you say, would you say is the best city for technology startups that nobody knows about yet?
That's a really tough one. And I'd have to say, I've spent a lot of time in the last year in a town called Corvallis, which is
Mm-hmm.
where Oregon State University is. A lot of
Yeah.
smart, thoughtful folks in a very charming small town that
Mm-hmm.
I think now that remote friendly policies are going to be much more prevalent, I think somewhere like Corvallis would be a great place to start a business in the future.
Yeah, interesting pick. Let's see. What would you say is your most unpopular or controversial technology opinion?
Yeah, I think that there's a this idea that technology will solve all problems, or that everything needs a fancy interface in order to
Mm,
accomplish even fairly simple tasks. But I very much have the opposite opinion, where oftentimes something that's even as rudimentary as a command line interface is really all you need. And so I think people tend to over-engineer solutions to problems that could be done much more simply.
very interesting. What would you be doing for a living if you weren't involved in Berbix?
Yeah, I honestly, I'd probably do something in finance, maybe
Mm,
accounting. I love working with numbers. I love working with data, and I feel like being able to continue to work in that space in a very different direction would likely be where I'd want to take my career.
yeah, very interesting. Well, let's talk about your career a little bit and about Berbix. What problem does Berbix solve and who does it solve it for?
Uh, Great question. So, like I said at the top of the call, we're an identity verification solution for building trusted relationships online by instantly and accurately validating a user's identity. And this is useful across many different verticals, including, of course, fintech is a very big one for us. But additionally, we work with companies in age verification, in healthcare, in even nonprofits. And so we build a utility that can be used across many different possible applications for doing that simple check of, is this person who they say they are, by validating someone's government issued photo ID.
Very interesting. What would you say is the most unique aspect of Berbix's technology?
Yeah. So one area of advancement that we've made is that we have patented technology that enables us to actually catch fake IDs. And that's a
Mm.
little surprising that that's a unique aspect in the identity verification space. But what we found is that as we've gone head to head against a number of competitors, that our ability to catch fake IDs is something that is quite unique about us and something that enables us to provide outsized value to our customers.
Yeah, very interesting. What would you say, taking a look at the human side of that equation, what would you say is the most important thing about building a strong team?
Yeah, companies are only as good as the people who make them up. And so I think having a strong team enables team members to lift each other up. And so it's critically important to have the right players in the right roles at the right time. And that is the best way to enable you to have a successful company, is to make sure the right people are able to focus on the right problems.
Well put. What was your biggest professional takeaway from 2020, the year we just had?
So many. But I think we are living in unprecedented times. We've seen a massive acceleration when it comes to the digitization of our society. And I think that we need to understand and appreciate that we can and should expect massive changes in the years to come.
Absolutely. Where do you see Berbix in the next 2 to 3 years, say?
2 to 3 years, that's a lifetime for a company at our phase. By then, I think we'll be powering identity verification across many of the major companies across the internet and verifying likely millions of identities per week would be my expectation.
Excellent. Let's go back to some of the personal questions. Are you a cat person, a dog person, neither, or both?
Oh, so I'm a big traveler. And as much as I love dogs, I do find that it makes it hard to travel around. And so we have our two wonderful cats. So cats all the way.
All righty, good call for the cats. Let's see, if you were a famous artist, would you more likely to be a famous, or rather a novelist slash writer, an actor slash director, or a singer slash musician?
I would say probably novelist slash writer. As someone who got my start writing a lot of code, I think there's a lot of commonality between writing effective code and writing effective prose. And I think that I would really enjoy changing the type of writing that I do in order to tailor it to a specific audience rather to a specific problem to solve.
Very interesting. Okay. What would you say is your favorite holiday of the year?
It's got to be Thanksgiving. The food, the family, and kicking off the holiday season. It just makes it such a special time. I love Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is awesome. What are you looking forward to most in your personal life this year, 2021?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, got married recently. And so in October, we have our honeymoon coming up. So I'm very much looking forward to that. So that is definitely going to be the personal highlight in 2021.
I believe that. And last but not least, what's your favorite thing about being a part of FinovateFall this year?
You know, it's always just amazing to interact with like-minded, thoughtful folks in fintech or in other spaces. And it's amazing to see how much innovation is going into the space, how much advancements are happening. And just, I'm excited to see where we are today and where we'll be years from now in the years to come.
Excellent. And we're excited to have you a part of FinovateFall again, Berbix, with Eric Levine. Thanks very much for being a part of our 25 and 5 as well. Thank you very much for being a part of our show coming up in a couple of weeks, actually, in New York in September. It's going to be a really fun event, and we're really looking forward to having a lot of folks back on the live stage, and we're very happy to have you among them.
Well, thank you so much for the time, David. This was a lot of fun.
Excellent, excellent. So again, folks, definitely make sure that you check out Berbix at FinovateFall at our show coming up next month in New York. Check out the 25 and 5. Be sure to stop by their booth, say hi, network a little bit, and find out more about some of the innovative things the company is doing in the identity verification space. Thanks again, Eric, for joining us.
Thank you, David. Take care.
Great.